keyboard or the accelerators, right? For pasting control V, for cutting control X, something like that. We have something called a shortcut keys, right? Which helps us to do the job very easily, right? If that shortcuts were not there, we have to go do manually, right? That is why it is called as accelerator, accelerating the students or the user's job more easier, right? The accessing time it is reducing. That is why it is called as keyboard accelerators, which was done in the last class only. So I'll just show you all the keys which is given here, right? So if you have already discussed, Control C for copy, Control N new file, opening a new file, Control O, then Control P for printing, saving, pasting, cutting, Control X, everything, all these things you people know that, right? The only one thing probably you may not be knowing is Shift F1 to activate content sensitive help, that is help menu, right? F10 for display pop-up menu, right? This spacebar escape an alternative or something like if you want to minimize the full screen, right? If you, for example, you're viewing a movie in full screen, you want to minimize it, right? So what we have an option for that for escape where you can cancel the full screen, right? So these are all something called as accelerator keywords, which helps all the users to do the job very easily, right? So next topic is selecting menu choices. So how do we select the menus, right? So first one is many menu items can be selected by pointing. So how do we select it? By pointing, by using cursor, that is. Second one is by the keyboard arrows, right? Top, right, left, and the side buttons. Keying by giving some values there. So all these things, by using all these methods, we can select the menus. The first method is what? By using pointers, right? You want to open any application, you'll double click it. How do you do that? By using the pointer, right? Using by mouse or any device. It might be any kind of input device, that is joystick or your mouse, right? You're giving input through a pointer, right? That is mechanical pointer, right? That is the first choice. Second one is by keyboard, right? You can select any choice by keyboard, right? Once you go to the desktop, you can move up and down to select any particular application. That is second way of selecting a menu, that is keyboard. Third one, by keying values. So designated values are there where function keys are there. If you press the function key, one menu will open. So that is what by keying a value. So we'll have a more detailed explanation in next slides. The first one is initial cursor positioning, right? I'll just zoom in there. Right, if one option has a significantly higher probability of selection, position the cursor of that point. So it is something like we have an option, right? For example, when you're opening a file, right, it'll ask you, or when you're installing a file, it'll ask you to run as an administrator, right? Where you will have OK or cancel, right? So we'll have something called as default value will be there where the position will go for that option only. Means by doing a number of times, okay, you are allowing, okay, run as administrator. Once it is popped up, you can see that it will be highlighted, not the other button. There are two buttons, run as administrator and the cancel button. The more number of times you select the option that is run as administrator, that position will be fixed. So that will be your initial cursor positioning, right? When you are installing any software, by default, everybody will be saying agree, or next, right? So the initial position will be in next position there. It will not go to cancel, right? So something like next will be highlighted. That is what initial cursor position. When it will go, when you have highest probability of occurrence, where n number of people are selecting that option for that particular software there, right? That is what if repeating the previously selected option has the highest probability of occurrence, right? The position of the cursor will be at that particular option. As I told you now, when you're installing any software, it is automatically that all the users will be clicking next, because nobody will be seeing what are the rules and regulations there. So it is highest probability of selection is next. So automatically that will be selected, right? Without using the position, that is pointer also, if you just enter, if you click on enter, it will be automatically going to the next one because default it will be selected. That is what the first one is, initial cursor positioning. So choice selections, I told you, there are three, right? The first one is pointers, second one is keyboard, third one is selection or execution, right? And the last one is combining techniques like combining pointer, keyboard, or keyboard selection. So one by one, the first one is, the first one is pointer, right? So it is very clear. Pointers means by using mouse, or they have given, see, mouse, trackball, light pen, or through touch pointing using one's finger also, right? So anything which you do by using mechanical devices, right? Items can be selected by being pointed, right? So anything which is used by using pointers, right? Either by mouse input or trackball or your play, that is your art, any kind of devices input, Xbox, right? Light pen, that is your S pen, stylus pen, or through your fingers also, touch screen also, right? So anything you're pointing there, it is all pointers there, right? So now we should know the pointers size limitation there, right? An adequate point targeting area should be provided. See that when you're using the pointer space should be provided there. Now, for example, see, in this area should be at least twice the size of active area of the displayed pointer of the pointing device. In no case, it should be less than 6 millimeters square. It should not be less than 6 millimeters square. Means, for example, when you take the cursor, if you're using mouse, the cursor, the space utilized by the cursor should not be less than 6 millimeters, right? Then if you're using something more bigger than that, if you're using your fingers, right, then the screen, the space utilized by the pointer will be more. That is what the next point is. If finger pointing is the selection method used, if you're using your fingers as a touch screen, the space provided for that should be minimum of 20 to 30 millimeters of size there, right? So that is what point is. Okay, I left the second point there. Pressing a key such as transmit or enter or a mouse button signals gives a choice to the computer. Always visually indicate it a distinct matter. So you have to see which kind of input you are giving, right? Whether it is single choice or multiple choice of menu arrays, right? So it is single means one step, multiple choices means multiple steps you are doing there. So the first point, the first way of selecting any menus is pointers. The second one is through keyboard. So keyboard, nothing much to tell here, where you can use your upper keys, lower keys, or your mixed, right? That is right, left. Any keys you can use here, right? So I'll go there. If the user is moving the screen cursor to a menu choice, the up and down arrow key should be used there. So when you're going to the desktop, use your up and down arrow keys so that you can select any one appropriate keys there, right? The left and right arrow keys should move the cursor left and right. The user is keying a choice identifier value within an entry field, locate the entry field at the bottom of the last choice in the array of choice. See, now we have something called as mnemonic value. What is this mnemonic value? Means it is a memory aid actually, where you remember some image or some number there, right? So that should be also provided an option there, right? It can be uppercase or it can be lower or any cases, right? Right? A value, particular value, right? For example, in older phones, we were getting an option for speed dial, right? One, for example, we will store one number in your number one, right? Or in alphabet A. So once you click on alphabet A, it will dial that person. That is what your mnemonic value means, where you remember something is kept there. Either it might be an image, or it can be a value, or it can be a phone number, anything, right? So keyboard will support mnemonic value also. Mnemonic means a memory aid where it can remember. You should remember also there, where you can assign that it is a mnemonic value there, where something is stored inside that. You should remember that value there. Then the third type of selection is selection or execution. So what is this? You provide separate actions for selecting and executing menu options. So they have given an example requiring typing the mnemonic to select and then press off enter or return key to execute. For selecting one you should do, for executing one you should do. So we should provide two separate actions for doing these two operations. Selecting and executing, both should not be same there, right? Right, see example in your desktop, there are so many applications. You use your left, right, or your top, bottom keys to select an application that is used only for selection. Once you press an enter key, only then it will be executed. That is what the third way it is telling, right? Always permit erroneous selections to be selected, unselected, and in multiple choice menu, permit all options to be selected before execution. So if any errors are happening, right? So you should make sure an option is permitted for that also. right? You can see all those error messages which is coming there, right? 1 second. Is the voice clear now? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no, thank you. Right. So now the third one is what? By selecting or execution. So example I told you, I guess you have all understood that. Next one is combining techniques, where you can combine pointing, your touch screen, right? So now for example, when you're toggling between two menus, right? Or think you have opened 3-4 applications, you have to toggle them, right? So now what many people will do, they'll use their cursors and they do toggling there. Means click on one, minimize one, and maximize other. But there are so many experts, right? We are all computer science students. What we will do by using shortcuts, that is Control D, right? Where you can, or tab, Control Tab, when you can do the toggling there, right? We have an option of toggling by using keyboard. Option is there by doing in pointers also. This is something called as combining techniques, where you can combine by doing some operations there, right? You can use your keyboard, you can use your pointer, you can do everything, right? That is combining techniques. Then we have something called as unavailable choices also, means the choices which are not available, right? What you have to do that is, we have to dim that, means you have to make it gray color, right? The differences we can see in many applications there, which is not important, but it will be showcased there, right? That is, that we should make it as dim color, right? Means you have to minimum, what is that? Keep the color very less so that it will not disturb the user view there. If it is more bold, right? For example, on the screen, if something red color is there and one more gray color is there, right? Everybody's eyes will go for red color only because it is more catchy or it is more dangerous there, right? Right is danger there, right? So dim the colors which is not useful for us, or which is not useful or available, which is not good or which is not recognized option for everybody, right? That is what unavailable choices are. Then next we have to talk about the toggles, right? What is this? Toggles means moving from one to another, right? We can have toggle from one menu option to other option. Inside the same menu only we can have toggle, right? Or within two applications we have toggle, right? So we'll see the first one is mark toggle. Okay, what is this mark toggle? Right now on the left hand side you can see a image where you can toggle from regular bold to italic to underline. So you can see something which is bolded means it is selected, right? If the cursor moves to the bold, it will be bolded there, means it will become full black color. If it moves down, if you are moving up and down arrows, right, that is toggling. Mark toggle this is where you are moving from one to another one. So what is the purpose of this, or what is this, right? So it is as illustrated there. When it is active, right, an indicator is displayed. So you can see some indicator, either it will be bold or it will be blinking or it will be maximized or the size will be increased there, right? For non-exclusive choices, a check mark is displayed. For mutually exclusive choices, another distinct is displayed, right? So for something like you have marked, right? For example, when you're checklisting something, when you have some check there, yeah, symbol will come, mark symbol will come. If you have unchecked, a cross symbol will come there, right? So this is all marking where it acts as whether it is marked or unmarked there, right? Means you have visited that or not visited that also, we can have an option there. When the item is not active, no mark or symbol will be appear. Means you have not gone through that only, means you have not done anything there, right? Means it is inactive there, right? So we can come to know whether it is active or inactive, right? When you can come to know that, when you check on that one, right? When you check on that one means when you click that one, it will become a tick symbol. When you unclick it means when you, once you say it is, I'm not interested with that, it will become a cross symbol there, right? So the first kind of toggling is mark toggle. So what is the advantage, or before advantages we should see the guidelines for this, right? So position the mark toggle indicator directly to the left of the menu option. In situations where several non-exclusive choices may be selected on one menu, consider including one alternative that deselects all the item and reverts the state to the normal condition. So what is the guideline when you are working on or when you are designing the mark toggle? The guidelines is very simple. You make sure the user will not select more number of options, right? If the design is in such a way that only one option should be selected. Means even if the user is selecting n number of options, right? The software or the design should give you the output in such a way that it deselects all and asks the user to re-enter the input using only one option, right? For example, when you are filling an online application form in for engineering colleges, right? Department will come where CAC, EC. If you click for all departments, the software will not accept for that. So it will show you an error message saying only one department should be selected. That is what the guidelines is, right? So when you're designing a mark toggle, the guidelines are this, so that you should make sure the multiple choices should not be selected. Again, it depends on the situation where you are using. Where if you want all the users to check all the lists, that's fine. So the design should be appropriate there. It is exclusive on the place where it is using there, right? In college, only one department, right? Whereas if you go to the grocery shops, if all is click, it is well and good that he is purchasing all the items. So it should be based on the place where we are using that one, right? So advantages or disadvantages we'll see. Mark toggles provide a visual indication of a state of an item. So advantage is once it is, if you are selecting that one, means it will be highlighting, means it tells that you are in this particular item, right? So you can see in this figure, right? F5, right? F5 is what? It is bolded there, or it is, what do you call it as a background? We have made it black color so that it tells us that it is selected or the cursor is in that particular position there, right? They are accessed quickly but may not always be visible. So again, this is disadvantage there. It can be both, all these points can be both advantage and disadvantage again there, right? They can be accessed quickly, right? If it is highlighting, it is something like it is highlighting for us, right? Which is blinking for us, means it will tells the user, okay, we are accessing this one and we can press enter there, right? There are 5-6 options, right? If you select, right? If there is no difference between the display there, then you can't able to see which is accessed or on which you have selected the choice there. So if there is some differentiation between the selected one and which is not selected, it gives an user an easy accessing that page. That is what the second point is. Then mark toggles are best suited to items or features that remain active or inactive over relatively long period of time. So it is again for active or inactive only we will be using this, right? So when we go for mark will be only for active and inactive, right? Either it will go for active state or inactive state. If you are clicking on that one, it will be active. If you are not, it will not on be that one. They provide good reminders of the state that exists. So it will provide whether it is active or it is inactive. So first kind of toggle is mark toggle. The second one is toggle menu items. So what is happening in this is, right, purpose. So we'll go for the purpose, then we'll go to the figure, right? You can see here. A toggle menu is a one menu item command that toggles back and forth between the current state and its alternative state. So now you can see here, hide grid, show grid. So we have two options. It is of the same state, either to display the grid or to hide the grid. So toggling menu items here, right? Whereas the previous one was where we toggle between n number of menu options there. This one where we toggle between the same state information, whether you have to display the grid, whether you have to display the information or not display the information, right? When the menu item is first displayed, it reflects the alternative state. Means if it is displayed, means to be hidden, right? That is what in the figure. For example, in the figure, that is what's shown there, right? Either to hide grid or show grid, right? When hide grid is selected, the grid is removed from the window and the menu item dynamically changes to reflect the opposite option. So it is fine. It is again the same thing what I told now, right? When you select the hide grid, what will happen? What will execute there? It will make sure the image or the figure which you have given there will be hidden there. And the option now will be displayed as show grid. It will not show you hide grid there, right? Then if you click on show grid, then what will happen? The image which you have hidden there will be displayed there, right? Any doubts for anybody so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Fine, thank you. So before going to the advantages, we will see what is the guidelines they have given to follow, right? Okay. So use toggle menu items to designate two opposite commands. So you should use this kind of toggling menu only for two opposite, right? That is visible or invisible, truth and false, opposite, something like the opposite way, opposite commands. The menu item displayed must be one that clearly indicates that the opposite condition correctly exists. So it is same guideline there. The menu caption should clearly state what would happen if the menu item action were requested. It is most meaningful to begin the command with a verb. So it is very important. It should be very clearly specified. Hide means it should be hidden only. Show means it should display there. It should not have a opposite again there also there, right? Then the advantages here are the toggle menu item shortens menu, right? So now when we talk about here hide grid and show grid, right? There are two options here, but only one will be visible, right? So it is making the menu length short there. It will also help you to have a clear information. So that is what cluttering, clumsy will not be there. We can have a quick access there, right? Faster comprehension, because when it is not clumsy, we can have a faster comprehension there, right? That is what the length is reduced, right? Now think there are 5 different opposite commands there, right? If the opposite toggling item is not at all applicable, then there will be 10 menus there, right? So length will become more, right? If this toggling menu, opposite toggling menu is activated there, then 10 will become only 5 there, right? But when you're using this, very important, you have to make sure as per the guidelines, you have to clearly specify what it is. If it is not clearly specified, it will become a problem there, right? Then when they are located on a pull down menu, however, the action themselves are not visible, right? So when we have a pull down menu, that is a disadvantage there. The actions will not be clearly visible there. Means it will not always be clearly visible there, right? Third, the opposite action reflecting the current state of the attribute, since it is not visible, can cause uncertainty. Means the user may go for error operation also, right? If it is not giving a current state of information there, right? It is something like error operation may occur there, right? Then the next topic is navigating menus, right? So very important and very lengthy topic, right? Probably I'll see whether I can complete this 6 topics today. If not, we will continue in the next class, right? Before starting navigation menu, so far any doubts for anybody? So I started with keyboard accelerators, where we have all the options of shortcut keys, where everybody know almost all the command. Then we started with how many selecting options are available for selecting a menu choices. The first one was pointer, the second one was keyboard, the third one tells you selection and execution should have 2 operations there, right? Then we saw what is the size area restricted or must be there for the pointer for finger space. Then what is mnemonic value? We saw mnemonic value means a memory aid value where we remember something. Something is stored in that one. I give you an example of storing a phone number on speed dial. That is what mnemonic value is. Then the next topic what we discussed is 2 types of toggling. One is mark toggle, other one is the toggling menu there, right? Mark toggle where we toggle from one menu to the other one, right? Where bold, italic, one by one, up and down we will be using. Where the active one will be either something display will be changed, which indicates us whether it is active or not. Then the third one was toggling menu items where we have opposite commands. We will be using this kind of menu where we have 2 opposite different actions there as shown in the figure hide and show grid. 2 operations it will be there. Advantages and disadvantages we have seen. So before starting navigation of menus or navigating menus, any doubts for anybody?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay, and one more thing. Okay, okay. One more thing is regarding your technical seminar. You tell all. I'll leave a message also. All the students are requested to give in a laptop, because if the phone is not having a proper connection, the slides will have a problem there. Right now, I'm using phone only. Are you facing any problems with the slides?
No, sir.
but I am facing, because what is the problem is we can't zoom the slide images properly there, right? Because I'm not able to see the option of enlarging anywhere, right? What I have to do, I have to do like this and do that, right? PPTs, we can easily go for slideshow there, right? Where if you are using phone is not recommended as per HOD sir instruction. Sir told yesterday to me that send a message to all the 8th semester students before giving the technical presentation. Tell them to give in laptop. So make sure you have a laptop there, and a proper connection should be there. I'll send the message. Leave it off. Anyways, it is not. This is the thing to tell here, right? So fine. We will go with the next one. Navigation of or navigating menus. The topics which we'll be discussing in this is, the first one is what are the problems we face during navigation, what are the goals of navigation, why we are using navigation, then what is website navigation, then what are the components of this website navigation, then what is the guideline. So what is that you have as a designer should ensure the uh, components, how the components should be there, what is the user is expecting. So as a designer, there are certain guidelines to be followed, right? Then the sixth topic is maintaining a sense of place. So this is very interesting topic which will be kept at the end. Sense of place. Okay, leave it off. We'll keep it at the end. The first one is website navigation problem. Before that, navigating menus, everybody know that, right? So where we move from one menu to the other one. So what is that? A simple and clear navigational structure is very important. It is the backbone there, right? Backbone upon which all system features are wrapped, right? A navigational menu structure we have seen in the last class before Deshpande sir class. I had given you there are different types of navigation there, or different kinds of navigation menus, right? If you remember, single, sequential, simultaneous, hierarchical, trap menu, event trap menus, right? So the structure what you are using is a backbone. It is very important for us, right? If you are using a proper structure, then everything will be good. If we are not using a proper structure, right, then the user will find it very difficult to use your menu there, right? The second point, in website design, the most successful sites have been found to be those with easy to use and understand navigational systems. Means from one page to another one, other one to other one, the connection between the menus should be easy and understandable for even a common man, right? Only then the user will be using that, right? When the website will become more successful, when n number of people are using, when n number of people will be using that, when everybody will find it easy for using that. That is what example of in so many number of games are there online. Not everybody will be playing all the games, right? Last year everybody were interested. Not last year, 2 3 years back there was one game. I don't know whether you people are remember that, something called as Mini Militia, right? If I'm not wrong, boys.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Mini Militia was very famous, right?
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes.
nobody is playing Mini Militia, right? Because the students who were finding it very easy in 2017 or 18, now they are finding it is not easy. Or there is one more game which is more easy than this game, or more addictive than this game, right? So that is what, as a developer, we should be updating the structures there. So very important, they have given the word backbone, right? For a human being to stand, backbone is important, right? As the same meaning for a structure, for a navigation to be very important, the structure, I mean, for a navigation to be successful, means from one web page to other one link, it should be successful, or it will be successful only when you have a common structure or a proper structure there, right? So that is the explanation of that navigation menu. So first point, we'll directly go to the first point. What are the problems we face, right? There are two types of problems. One is technical problem, other one is usage related problem. So what is this technical problem or the technical issue? The first one is a web application is composed of pages, right? Each of which can theoretically be linked to any number of pages, right? The graphical application user normally begins a process at a page, at a point, and proceed, right? So we have something called a spider web, right? So the second point is called a spider web, means a connection from one to the other one, right? You can see a spider web where everything will be properly connected. It may not be directly connected, but it will be, everybody will be indirectly connected. Only then it will be a proper spider, right? The human beings, there is a history that human beings started to build a small buildings or a normal buildings by seeing the spider web only. By seeing the spider web only, they got a idea that how should we do networking there. Without the spider networking, I don't know, I guess the networking concept would have not exist also. Spider showed the way how the networking will work there from one to the other one, how it is linked. So the spider web is used in many places there, the word spider web, right? So now the graphical system user must deal with only one OS whose navigational characters are standard and consistent. Okay. The web user must confront two navigational systems that of the browser being used. That's also fine. I'll tell you what is that. To move around within a website requires links either in the form that is commandment. So now from moving from one page to other one, right? So what you have to do is you have to provide a link for that, right? Whether you can have a link, something like www.gmail.com, one link, or you can have a comment button where you, once you click on that button, it will move to the other page, right? So what they're telling is you have to use one OS only, right? You can't have from one OS to another OS, you can't have a link, right? So that is what, make sure you're using consistently, you're using one single OS there, right? Then, so what is the problem here? The rapidly evolving and expanding nature, right, of the web means the links, that is what technical issue will happen when there are spider web, when there are so many links from one to another one. If there is no connection between them, the user will end up going with the wrong path. That is the first problem with the technical issues there, right? Where we don't know the proper path, or it doesn't have a knowledge with where he went from one page to another one, where we'll be seeing in the next slides. The navigation is very important because it will tell you where I am now, where I'll go in future, where I was in past, where I am now. So many things will, answers we will get from navigation only. So if the navigation is not provided properly, there will be so many problems there, right? Because that is what the data usage will be more, right? Right? If the order is not specified properly there, that is from one to another, from first to the second link, if the link is not provided properly, it will become a proper improper navigational structure, right? That is what the first kind of the first problem is, right? Technical, why the word technical they've used is, right, the information required for the user will be missed if it go for the wrong path, right? That is what technical problem is, right? Second one, usage problem, right? What is this usage problem is, there are too many links presented on a page, many of whose meanings are not clear, right? So when you are using the links, right, when you're opening some game, there will be some other links which will be opening, right, which doesn't have meaning in what you are doing there, right? When you're playing a game, right, a ad will come, right? If the ad is related to the game, that's fine, but the ad will be related to some other film, some other audio, some other video will be there, right, which is not meaningful only. So that is what usage problem is. When you're using one, right, when I click on something else, it should be related to this only. If you're not related to this, then it is again a problem. It might be a good information only, you're telling something good information for the user, but if it is not related to the existing link, it is again a problematic there, right? Links frequently offer few clues to where they lead, how much information will be found at the other end. The information should provide a clue, right? Means an idea or the expectations of the user should be uh, achieved there, right? For the user to reach a goal, each link relevance to the task at hand must be determined. Another problem is that not all the links on a web page are always obvious. This often leads to trial and error. So that is what they are telling, right? By clicking on one image, the user expectations will be one, right? If the same thing will come there, it is good. If not, it will be again a problem there. So those are the two problems of the navigation. The first one is technical issues. The second one is usage problem. Both is almost the same there, where it tells you the information lost and the irrelevant information there, right, from one page to another one. That is the first topic to be covered in navigation menu. The second topic, navigation goals, right? So as a designer, you should have these goals in your mind before developing any navigation link, right? So what is that? A well-designed navigation system facilitates quick and easy navigation between components whose structure and relationship are easily comprehensible. Means very important. Once you're giving a connection, the relationship between the existing one, the present one, and the next one should be properly specified. Right? What kind of relationship, whether it is directly involved, indirectly involved, that kind of relation should be provided or specified correctly there, right? So the answers to the following questions must be provided there, right? So as I told you, where I am now, right? Where did I come from? Where can I go from here? How can I get there quickly? So the 4 questions should be answered, or the main goals the user should be kept in mind while designing a navigation. The first one is, where am I now? The present page. Where did I come from? The previous page. Where can I go from here? The next page. How can I get there quickly, right? The information which I required, how fast I can reach that information, with how many minimum number of links I can reach that destination which the user is expecting. That is what, how can I get there quickly? If you are keeping this 4 in your mind, and if you do justification for this 4 questions while you're designing a navigation, then your navigation website or any sites or any links or any menus will be successful there, right? A good navigational scheme and proper navigational tools will minimize, if not eliminate, it will minimize the problems associated with cognitive or mental overload. So whatever the problems we have seen in the previous one, that is your technical issues and your usage problem, that can be minimized, if not at all eliminated. Why it is said that it will be minimized, right? If you have a proper linking, even if it is load is more, right? He will tell, okay, there is some connection. Okay, fine, it is correct, it will go there, right? It is not completely eliminating there. It is minimizing the burden of the user there, right? The general system navigational guidelines, right, for the achieving the goal says, in the control menu navigation, it should be there. The first one is control. For multi-level menus, provide one simple action to return to the next level and return to the main menu. So very simple example what I can give you for this control is your customer care executive, right? When you call to the customer care, right, it will give you multiple choices, that is multiple levels. One for English, press 1, for Kannada, press 2, for Kannada, Hindi, for some language it will tell you 3, 4. So I need Kannada, I'll go for 2. Then it will ask you for billing, press 1, for internet problem, press 2, for any other queries, press 3, right? Then it will ask you, if you're not understanding this language, you want to go to some other, if you want to go to the main menu, press hash or star. That is what returns to the main menu. So control should be provided properly there, right? The hierarchy should be properly provided there, right? When you have a proper hierarchy, means from the present, wherever you are, from the first stage, you have moved to the 99th stage. I want to go back to the first stage. There should be an easy option there. As simple, in your cars also, there will be gear system, right? From you'll go to the first gear, then you'll go to second, third. From any gear, you can come back to the neutral, right? There is nothing that you, from the 5th gear only, you should go to the neutral. But whereas in the bike, that option will not be there, right? So that is a control. Controlling of the bike is little difficult, because from the, you think you are going in 100 speed. All of a sudden, you should reduce your speed. Then restart your engine. Then you can't keep in 5th gear and restart it. You have to come back to the first gear and restart it. Coming back to the first gear means you have to come from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whereas in car, you are in 100 speed, right? You have to reduce the speed and restart it. What you will do directly, only one stage. It goes to the main menu, that is your neutral. Then you can go to anywhere. So that option, intermediate state, if it is provided, the controlling will be easy. As I told you in customer care option, hash button, you can return to the main menu. That is what the guidelines should be kept to achieve the goal. Are return to the main menu is very important, right? Then menu navigation aids. So what is that you have to remember is 3 things: menu mapping, look aheads, and navigation history, right? You have to provide an easily accessible for mapping, menu mapping, look ahead, and navigation. So what is this? Menu maps or graphing representation of the menu structure are desirable and should be included on top level menu screens. They should also be included in the system documentation. So menu mapping, right? We have seen in MS Word, we have done menu mapping on the left hand side, right? So it should be done on the top levels only. Means one example I've given, right? Where all the menu mapping should be included in the top level only. Where you do initially only all the mapping, before opening it, you do all the mapping, then you display that information to that one, right? Then very important is documentation also should be there. For example, in the file, there will be option of saving that one. I don't know what is this control S, right? What it will do, right? Then if I ask for L button, it should give a proper information of what is this control S doing, what will happen if you do control S. That is what menu mapping is. The second one is look ahead option. Means they are useful if ambiguity exit, right? At higher level choice of points, they have been found to decrease errors and improve satisfaction. Menu search time may be longer. So what is this ambiguity, right? When there is problems there, right? When there are so many options there, right? You get or you are not able to identify which one I should select, right? So you should provide some helpful information for them, right? To do what is that action to be taken there, right? Something like search bar, right? If there are 4 options but almost same meaning, right? So I should know what I should do there, right? For example, now in your phone contacts list here, there are 1,000 contacts, for example, think. Now you want to go to one option, right? One name, you have to search it, means you have to scroll up and down and see that, right? So how do we avoid this? By using search option, right? Search option, but in the search you go and type the name, right? You want to find one name, right? You want to find a name. What you'll do, you'll enter that name there, Cambridge. You'll type Cambridge in. Then whatever name stored in Cambridge will be displayed. But what is the disadvantage in this is the time taken to search for one option will be more, right? Because it has to search through all the 1,000 documents there. Then it will display you the results there. Then the third one which you should remember is navigation history there. The history, that is the summarizes the menu choices made. That is what your control is. The history, what all you have done, what all the information was displayed, everything will be clearly visible, right? So what is this navigation goals? We have to keep in mind while designing, we should answer for 4 questions. What is that? Where I am now, that is the present page. Where did I come from? That is the previous page. Where can I go from here? That is the next page. Then how can I get there quickly, right? So I want there is some expectation of the user, right? I want to get some information in how much minimum number of links you can give that information. That is what, how can I get there quickly? Then controlling, I gave you an example of your customer care. Then in menu navigation, we have 3 things: menu maps, look ahead, and navigation history, right? So before moving on to the website navigation, any doubts for the anybody for the first 2 points? That is navigational problems, 2 problems, and navigational goals. Anybody any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, the third topic, probably after this, I'll stop the class. Oh, this is a little big. Okay, we will see. Website navigation. So what is this? Web pages can be of any length, means any number of links can be there, and possess any number of links to any number of other pages. So from page to anything. The potential for getting lost is extremely high. That is what I told you. Leading to the wrong path is very high unless numerous obvious and understandable landmarks are available, right? So now you can see in your website or in your Google Chrome, we have an option of star button, if you remember there, where you can click on that. You can, what is that? Anybody can tell me what is that star? What is that mark called as?
Bookmarks.
We do that star. What is that star? Yeah, correct.
Bookmarks, sir.
That is good, but you're listening to me. So that is what bookmark, right? Where it is very important. The first thing is, other one is what you tell is, okay, I need this later part. So what I'll do, I'll make this as important. I'll go for the next pages, right? So it is something like you have made this important. You can come back to this page anytime because it has made as bookmark. So that will be in your history. That is in your folder, one important folder where it will go there. In contacts also you can do that, right? There are 1,000 contacts. If you say 2 or 3 contacts as favorite contact, it will be at the top, right? This is favorite list. That is what your bookmark is, right? Or your landmark is. Website navigation design includes website organizational schemes such as command buttons, links, toolbars, the characteristics components. Okay, we will be discussing all these things here. It is easier to develop a clear and comprehensible navigation scheme if the website is organized and structured, right? So far we saw the structure should be good, right? And very important thing is it should be properly organized also, right? So now in Chiguru, you have done properly structured, right? You have done all the events is properly done there. But if it is not properly organized, right, then you can't make sure all the audience will be there, right? That is what in our college also what we will do is, right, to hold the audience, some important events we'll keep at the end, right? Because it is organized in such a way that we make sure the audience will not go away. So in between, we'll use something like fillers, some comedy shows, something like songs or dance, something like a different. We will be doing everything different, right? Not only the same event from morning to evening, because we want to keep the hold of the students there, right? So what we do, we properly organize the events in such a way that the user will not leave the show and go there, right? That is what very important is. Once you have a proper structure, you should be properly organized also. What is this organization is, right? Okay, so how do you do this organization is divide content into logical fragments, that is subdivision units or chunks, establish a hierarchy, structure the relationships among those divisions, create a well balanced hierarchical tree. So 4 points we will be discussing in website organization. The first one is division of that, the division of the data or any fragments or any information into small chunks of information. Then for those information, establish a hierarchy, right? Or give the importance for all the divided one, priority. Then have a proper relationship between the chunks, that is the subdivisions. Then create a well balanced hierarchical tree. The first one is logical fragments, right? So what we are doing is the bigger information, right, we are making into small pieces, right? That is what they've given. Smaller discrete fragments or chunks of information are often easier to navigate than long, right? So the information kept in the link, if it is small, it will be easy for the user to read and move to the another page. If there in one link there are 100 pages, how can he go through that 100 pages and go to the next link, right? So make sure the 100 pages information is divided into small images, right? Display in such a way that it will be attractive for him. Maintain a proper balanced relationship between the one and the second one. There should be some connectivity for that. That is what they're specifying there, right? Hypertext is a non-linear way of organizing information based upon the following principles. So what is this principles? A large body of information exists that can be organized into fragments. The fragments should relate to one each other. The user needs only a small. So everybody are interested with only small. Something like it should be very small, precise, right? I'll be telling to all the students when you are displaying PPTs, make sure it is very small, right? It should be bullet points, something like that we'll be telling, right? Where you can see that point and explain more, right? Where the point should be very small there, right? Where by seeing that small information, the explanation should be more. So what is that they're specifying? You can catch an user intervention or user highs only when it is small and catchy then, right? If it is not catchy, he'll not see that, he'll not bother that. Why should I read so much information? So make sure you have a catchy information displayed there, right? Then if it is important, he'll come to that page and give that some description there. If not, the user can't be attracted there. Information is first divided into logical fragments or units. Again, the same thing there. Second one, hierarchy or importance there. Information is organized in according to importance or generality. That is something like we have something called as priorities, right? That is what from general to specific, right? You have to make sure the tree is done according to this, right? Where you specify the important one, right? Organizational tree structure provides information about information sequence, the quantity, the relationship. So you should make sure the order or the priority is given properly there, right? You should make sure the user will not leave the page and it should be attractive for him, right? And the information is specific to him, right? Then second one is the other organizational schemes include topics followed by subtopics. That is fine. So from one main topic to the subtopic. So as example, as your Pizza Hut, when you go for the Pizza Hut, what is that website? From one page to the other one, you can see from veg to the non-veg. From veg, if you click from veg to the pizza set, you go from pizza, you go to the size of the pizza, something like division, subdivisions they have done there. So that is what hierarchy or importance you should specify there, right? Then what is this importance means? You can see here, every time when you go with the pizzas, right, it will show you the regular one, large one, important one, right? So the items will be done, right? For example, if you select the small one, okay, the price is less. But what is that? It will happen in the next page, it will show you some add-ons there. So that is important there, right? Whether you select or not, it is telling you an importance there, right? Whether you go for small, large or medium, any kind of pizza you go, right? Once you select then the important for them is to take your money there. So it will tell you, it will ask you, should I add on something there, right? When you are booking some tickets online, Book My Show, when you book the tickets, after confirmation of your seats, it will ask you for what? Anybody?
Combos.
After confirming the seats, next. Nobody, yeah? Nobody has booked the tickets online.
Sir, combos.
Yeah, exactly correct. It will ask you for the snacks. That is a combos, right? So it is very clear they're all giving more importance for this, right? Rather than ticket booking, it is confirmed that you'll go for ticket booking now. The seat selection is done means you are about almost 80-90% will book the ticket, right? So at this time it is asking you more money from you. That is what the importance there. Hierarchy is maintained, but even important information is also given there. Then third point, structure of the relationship. So you have to maintain the proper structure there. What is this? Movement within the subject tree, including moving within a branch from the parent branch to the sub branch. That is from main root to the subroot, from subroot to the sibling root. The structure should be properly specified there, right? The relationship from the first one to the second one, second to third one should be properly specified. Global or site-wide navigation. What is this? In this navigation site, features such as search facilities, site maps, other major content should be mentioned. Area should not be mentioned on all the pages, right? So now what they're telling is navigation should not be specified in all the pages. Means search option should not be provided in all the. You can see when you go for online booking, right? Initially it will give you an option for search. Once you search, right? Once you click on that movie, again it will not give you an option of searching there, right? Or again it may give you an option of searching which area, right? So you should know where you have to provide an option for searching only when it is global navigation. When it is local navigation, you should not provide any search option there, right? Got it? So what you have to see there is where it is required, a search option should be provided. Where it is not required, you should see that. Then last topic for today is hierarchical tree. So what we are discussing here is website organization. There are 4 points we are discussing. 4 important things which you maintain for a proper organization. In that last one is hierarchical trees, right? So when we have a proper balanced, well-balanced tree is there, then quick accessing can be done, right? It also helps the people to understand that, right? If this hierarchy is given, only then it will be proper to the user, right? If the hierarchy is not given, again it will be problem for accessing the information, right? Then if a site has large number of information categories and each category contains a lot of content, create submenu to avoid or to aid navigation. So right, when the information is more, make sure you create more submenus, right? So that it will be interesting for him to more click on the information and see, rather than in the same page, clumsy information is not recommended. Make different pages and provide that information in a easy manner for the user there, right? A few menus will be larger number of choices. Again, see all these things. You can have a best hierarchical structure, right? When you have a proper hierarchical structure. The last point you can see a 2 levels